Good afternoon, Phillies fans, and welcome back to the Fighting Final here on the It's a Wrap Sports with your boy Matty B on the call. And well, there you go. Phillies losers tonight in 11 innings, 4-3, and speechless, frustrated, angry. All those words sum up my feelings as this series was just awful from the beginning. It accentuated all the Phillies' problems today. Jordan Romano, whatever the hell his name is, kind of coughs it up there in the 11th inning. And I know we're going to probably focus in on him as being sort of the reason why they lost this game, but you got to have him in there, right? He was brought here for this job. He was brought here for this purpose. Now it's not working, but you got to put him in that position. You got to put him there. And now it's just a matter of what they do from this point forward. Is just a very uneasy series. It's April, it is, but just not a good vibe with this baseball team. But it's great to be here, live and direct from St. Augustine, Florida, folks. So I'm coming in on my vacation to do this. I took an afternoon of my vacation to watch this dreck, and Phillies lose today, 4-3. Let's check it. Star Wars 99. Yeah, we got swept. Yeah, we did. Joe Hell says. Tough loss on this game. I don't know if it's a tough loss, Joe. It's sort of like what this team has been averaging. I watched, what were they, 5 for 12 with runners scoring, multiple bases loaded with less than 2-out opportunities in this game, and they only were able to cash in one time. I mean, a tough loss, Joe, or a frustrating loss? Because once again, this team cannot score runs with runners in scoring position. So I'm not going to say tough loss. A frustrating loss, not a tough one. The tough one to me is like they're battling their butts off until the very end. No, they weren't. It was standard Phillies play in 2024, 2025, and maybe even 2023, not being able to cash in on their opportunities. And that's frustrating. That's not tough. That's frustrating. Adam's like, get the brooms out. Yeah, get the brooms out is correct. It's April, though. I mean, that's the only positive we can kind of put our hats on. That's April. Rob Thompson needs to be fired. Joe, those conversations and those sentiments are probably going to pick up steam. It's going to be very interesting coming out of this series. They have a day off tomorrow, my birthday, and then they head off to Chicago for 3. If they don't, at a bare minimum, take that series against the Cubs, and God forbid if they get swept by the Cubs, how can Rob Thompson keep his job? Right. I mean, it's gotten to this point as even though we're just 1 month into the season, how can Rob Thompson keep his job if they cannot go into Chicago at a bare minimum and take 2 out of 3? But we are at that point 1 month in. But I caution everybody, we're not 1 month in. Right. This is not 1 month into this. This is a season and a month. Or a half a season and a month. Because there's nothing different between this team now than the team that walked off the field in 2024. To me, that's the most frustrating part. So, yeah, you can be mad at Rob Thompson, and you should be. But Rob's working with what he's got, man. He's working without a net out there. And the real man that needs to be put up on the carpet as well, next to Rob Thompson, if you're going to talk firing somebody, it's got to be Dave Dombrowski. What did he do? Dave Dombrowski did nothing to address the problems of this team heading into 2025. So for everyone to say, well, it's April, relax. But is it really just April? Because this is a trend that started last year that has now picked up steam into 2025. So that's what's frustrating. And yes, Rob Thompson getting fired will probably be the most likely thing to happen in the near term. But does Dave Dombrowski, is he safe here? He's not. Dave Dombrowski can't be safe. 7-2 on the postgame show. Thanks a lot, Adam, for pointing that out. I appreciate that, man. So I'm now 7-2. And again, from beautiful sunny St. Augustine, I lose a postgame show. That's amazing. Someone get the brooms out? Yes, sir. Cut Romano. Yeah, and again, Star Wars, I said this at the top. You put Romano in this situation because that's what he was brought here to do. You bring him into the game in this situation because that's what he was brought here to do. But the bottom line is it's just not working out. And now you've seen enough, I think, to make that decision a reality. So, yeah, cut Romano might be the case here. Steve's checking in. This team isn't any good. average team. They're exactly what the record says they are, just about a 500 team. Damn shame. And that's what's that's what's so frustrating to me, Steve, is that it's not 1 month into this, right? We're talking the exact same things we talked about at the end of last year. We're just continuing on in 2025. Ballpen play that wasn't there, inconsistent hitting, and not being able to drive runners in scoring position. Actually, the bullpen is probably a nuance because we had a decent bullpen last year, no roles, but some of the talent was better out there. But the other two areas are the same. They're not getting consistent hitting. Again, you're 5 for 12 with runners in scoring position. That's almost 500. I got that. But 12 opportunities to drive runners in, and you only get 5 of them. Multiple times leaving bases loaded with less than 2 outs, and you're just not able to capitalize on more than just 3 runs. World Series championship teams, they don't do that. They score runs when they have to, and they put a lot of runs up. So it's frustrating, man. It's very frustrating. They both need to be fired. I agree, Joe. I agree. It's not all Rob Thompson's fault, and I think we can agree to that. Rob Thompson's doing what Rob Thompson has to work with, and it's not that good. So Dombrowski needs to be held accountable too. Happy early birthday. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. Let's get into this game as I do want to get back to my vacation. So let's get through this here. The Phillies on the afternoon would finish with 3 runs on 11 hits and no errors. The Mets 4 runs and 10 hits and 1 error. Offensive standouts for the Phillies today on this day. Alec Bohm. Got to give Alec a lot of credit. 3 for 5. He's been red hot. Hit now in last 9, raises his average up to 230. He was definitely a 3-hit day for him. Sosa, who got the start today, 2 for 3 with the runs scored. Weston Wilson, who was called up, activated off the IL, and then in his place, Cody Clemens, given the old DFA. See you later, Cody. He'll probably not get claimed and more than likely take the AAA assignment. But Weston Wilson was 1 for 3. Max Kepler came in as a pinch hitter and also was 1 for 3 on the day. Johan Rojas down there at the bottom of the lineup accounted for 1 of the RBIs. He was 1 for 3. But let's look at our big boppers. Trey Turner, 1 for 5. Did have an RBI early in the game, but 1 for 5. Bryce Harper, 1 for 5. And then in that play in the second inning, with Lindor going to his right with the ball that was hit deep into the infield, 2 outs, Harper's on first. Lindor's making a hell of a play on the ball, decides to go to second. He throws the ball to second. Harper's not even in the frame when the ball gets to second for the out. You got 2 outs there. The ball was a troubled ball to the right side of the infield. What was Harper doing? Why did it take him so long to get from first to second? We could also discuss the play with Castellanos, which we'll get into here probably in a little bit. But Bryce Harper, another uninspiring day. Said it in the pregame or preview show. He needs to be clutch. He's not clutch right now. He's not clutch at all. And Bryce Harper needs to be held accountable. Kyle Schwarber 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. That was reminiscent of the Kyle Schwarber of old. Castellanos 1 for 4 with a walk and a strikeout and a thrown out at home plate, as the Phillies had all kinds of base running issues today. Juan Soto, I know he's not a scrub defensively, but that's not really what he's known for. He's out there throwing runners out, and they're afraid to go against him. Yeah, I don't know, man. I know what's going on with this team. I really don't. The best catcher in baseball, 0 for 4 with a walk and a strikeout. His average is down to 221. A little retrospect. Logan O'Hoppe entering play today is batting 284 with 5 home runs and 9 RBIs and an OPS of 826 and an OBP of 304. Just to remind everybody what Logan O'Hoppe is up to these days as we deal with the best catcher of baseball here in Philadelphia. And then other than that, again, it was just a really another uninspiring offensive day for the Phillies. For the Mets, Lindor had 2 hits. And Soto had a hit. Alonso had a hit. Vientos with a hit. Winker with a hit. Marte with the hit to include the game-winning hit there in extra innings to give the Mets the lead. Pitching, what can you say about Zach Wheeler? Another solid day. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. They were earned. Struck out 9 along the way. Walked 2. Gave up a homer. 107 pitches through 6 innings. Zach Wheeler made that one mistake with the home run, but again pitched a solid effort. again, wasted by lack of offense, lack of consistent hitting, and he suffers not the loss. He didn't factor in the decision. Strahm, a clean inning of work. Alvarado, which I was really impressed with. Not only did he pitch the 9th, but he came out in the 10th and pitched that, was it the 8th and the 9th? 9th and the 10th. What was it, the 8th or the 9th? No, the 8th and the 9th. Pitched 2 solid innings. And he ended up throwing 28 pitches. So he's thank God there's a day off tomorrow. So, and then, of course, Romano takes the loss, a half inning, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, or 2 runs. 1 was earned, a walk, a strikeout. And his ERA is now up to 13.50. And yes, I think it's time to say that one of Dave Dombrowski's offseason moves, it's not working out. For the Mets, Peterson, 5 1/3, 8 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Brasban, Young, Buto, Diaz, and Kranick all would pitch for the Mets as well. Kranick gets the win as the Mets hold on 4-3 in extra innings. Summary, scoring-wise, Beatty would get the Mets up on the board first in the second inning with a 2-run shot, the only mistake of Zach Wheeler's day. Rojas then would get the Phillies going in the 4th. Now, there was an opportunity in the second with bases loaded and 1 out. Rojas would strike out, Turner then would ground out. They failed there, but Rojas would redeem himself at least in the 4th inning, and so would Turner. He would knock in a run to make it 2-1, and then Turner would follow that up with a single as well, tying things at 2. It would stay that way until the 10th inning when Castellanos would knock in Harper to give the Phillies the lead in extra innings. But then in the bottom of the 10th, Alonso would knock in the door, tying things up, and then Marte would single in Alonso, giving the Mets the win 4-3 in walk-off fashion. Sweepage time in New York. Phillies now 13-12 on the season, and very frustrating indeed. So let's go back over here. Run it back mindset just never works. Stale and complacent team right now. He did show some emotion on that balk missed call. That balk missed call, yeah, I mean, they made the right call. It was a disengagement. It was not a balk. Even if you're talking about it, that was not a balk in the essence of the word balk. If it was too many disengagements, then one thing, but it was not really a balk. And I know too many disengagements are ruled a balk, but obviously he was hurt, so that probably nullified that. But the umpires made the bad call or the wrong call by putting Castellanos on second. So yeah, I would have been mad too. But you're right, he showed some emotion, Steve. But did it seem like no one really cared? Like the umpires were like, yeah, whatever, man. Like it's almost like Rob Thompson has lost respect around Major League Baseball. That no one really takes him seriously anymore. Like, yeah, whatever, Rob. Just go away. Because the emotion was there, but there was no real fire. It was emotion, not fire. I don't know, man. I just think Rob Thompson's he's dead man walking, man. And he's the manager of a team that's dead and walking, too. Kyle on the base every game so far. Yeah, I mean, yeah. He struggled today, though, a little bit. Let's go Mets. Got to give it to them. The Mets are a stacked team, and they're right now they are the toast of the NL East, and but it is April, and I hate to remind that to everybody. It is April, and we can look at the most recent history as last year, seeing how April doesn't really tell the story, right? I mean, the Phillies have actually been better off when their backs are against the wall and they have to push out from behind and try to make a push at some point. We've seen it the last couple seasons. The Mets folded down the stretch in 22. In 23, it was kind of back and forth. Last year, the Mets came out of nowhere and got into the playoffs. So, you can ride the let's go Met horse all you want right now, and the Mets are a drastically better baseball team than the Phillies at this particular moment in time. I will give you that. But for some encouragement for Phillies fans, it's April. From some discouragement from Mets fans, it's April. So let's keep all that in the concept or into perspective as well. The Phillies are not bad. They just are not very good. I don't know what the difference between that is. We can beat the Mets. We can't beat the Mets in Queens, New York. Oh, yeah. We can't beat the Mets anywhere right now, man. Oh, it's been bad. It's been bad. 4-3 Phillies losers in extra innings series sweep. Phillies will now get ready to take tomorrow off. We're heading out to Wrigley to start a 3-game set against the Chicago Cubs. On Friday, right now, the Phillies will send Taijuan Walker, and he'll be opposed by Colin Ray of the Cubs. So Day off tomorrow as the Phillies finish that stretch of games that they ran like 16 in a row. And so far, not so good as this road trip, 0-3 as they go to Wrigley. And I said this, they got to, with a minimum, they got to get 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. The rule of April is still it applies to me, right? 500 or better and healthy. We're running out of time in April, and the Phillies are playing, I think right now they're about 2 or 3 games under 500 for the month. They got to pull out of this, and they got to get to at least a healthy spot at the end of April to start off May. And I think honestly, if they come out of this thing losing 2 out of 3 or getting swept, how can Rob Thompson keep his job? How can the Phillies management not do something drastically? And Weston Wilson getting called up from AAA and Cody Clemens getting DFA'd is not a drastic change for this baseball team. It's a status quo change. But something's got to be done coming home to shake up this team if they can't pull themselves out of it, because it's not 1 month. It's been a season plus a month, and it's getting uber frustrating. But here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, for your Cubs series, we got you covered. Friday night will be Al coming on a little bit later after the game. The game in Wrigley on Friday is a 2:20 game. Al will be coming at you around 7 or 8 o'clock on Friday night with the Titans final. Pat was going to do the call on Saturday, but he's got something else he's got to do. I will be in for Pat on Saturday, as I will be returned from vacation by then, and then I will be back at you on Sunday, kind of finishing up the Cubs series and also renewing the Down on the Phillies farm. We did not do that obviously this week because I was away, but there you go. There's your Cubs series in a glance. Said Taijuan Walker will go against Colin Ray against the Cubs here on Friday, as the Phillies will start a 3-game set in Wrigley. Let's go to the Broad Street bottom line. All right, so today's Broad Street bottom line, brought to you by the It's a Wrap Sports Network, is simply put, and this is a broken record, when you're 5 for 12 with runners in scoring position, you just need to do better with runners in scoring position. I mean, the Phillies had multiple opportunities today with bases loaded and less than 2 outs, and they came away with nothing out of it. I think they came away with 2 runs or 1 run out of the whole situation. You got to do better than that. You got to be better than that. You got to, going 5 for 12, and yes, it's almost 500, but it's 12 and 5. I can see 3 for 6 being okay. You can hang your hat on that one, but you just got to do better with runners in scoring position. And this has probably got to be the deadest horse of all the Phillies conversation that we've had over the past 3 years, is why this team cannot and will not drive runners in scoring position. It's the most frustrating thing I've ever seen in my time being a fan of this baseball team, is their lack of ability of driving runners in when they're in scoring position. So you got to do better when you're given opportunities with less than 2 outs and bases loaded. Yohan Rojas has got to put the ball in. You got to put the ball in play, and it's frustrating in all aspects of it. So there you go, my Broad Street bottom line. I don't know how many times I've said you guys know my runners in scoring position issue. It's well documented, and I look forward to the off season for one reason and one reason only. I can stop talking about it, but. If I'm talking about it all the time, why isn't the team aware of it? And why are we unable to drive runners in scoring position? So again, RISP was our downfall once again this afternoon in Queens. Adam wants to bring subs back up. They're missing the DJ vibes. Maybe that's what they're missing, right? Beer case hats for everybody, right? Trying to kind of lighten the mood. I think the question was asked to Steve Fuentes last night. If you fire Rob Thompson, who are you bringing in as manager? And I believe I put it out there that I honestly think the perfect manager for this team would be going forward through the rest of the season would be Larry Bowa. I don't think Larry would do well. Obviously, he's too old to kind of long term, but a Larry Bowa would light a fire up under this team, or they would have to get rid of people. Larry Bowa is the perfect manager for this team right now. For the remainder of this season, we need someone in there that's just not going to listen to the excuses anymore. That's going to hold players accountable. It's going to make decisions and make changes based on that accountability. Rob Thompson's not holding anybody accountable. There's been opportunities earlier in the season where he could have made a statement to his players. He didn't make that statement publicly, or he didn't make it during the game. I don't know what goes on inside that clubhouse, but whatever that is, it's not working. It's not putting any fear into these players as they feel that they can do whatever they want to do. And I think a Larry Bowa-esque manager for the short term, this year, the remainder of the year, would be perfect for this team, because we would know their true character after that. We would know truly who's a winner and who's not. And we would know what players we should retain going forward after that. So if Rob Thompson, and it looks like he's trending in that direction, somehow loses his job over the next few weeks, I would not mind seeing a Larry Bowa-esque manager in his place going forward for the rest of the year. So, again, short dosage of that would work for me. Larry is not a long-term solution by no stretch of the word, but something's got to give with this team soon. All right, time to go around the bases. All right, round the bases on this Wednesday afternoon in Major League Baseball. Games that have gone final. It was the Braves 4-1 over the Cardinals. It was the Reds 5-2 over the Marlins. Yankees all over the Guardians 5-1, and it was 6-0 Tigers over the Padres. Let's go up to the top here. Games that are currently in progress or later on tonight, which there's no games in progress right now. Of course, the Phillies lost 4-3 tonight. It was Baltimore at National. It beat Baltimore at the Nationals. Seattle and Boston. LA against the Dodgers and the Cubs. White Sox and Twins. Royals and Rockies. Blue Jays and Astros. Pirates and Angels. Rays and D-backs. Brewers and Giants. And later tonight, out there in Sacramento, it'll be the Rangers against the A's. And that is your round the bases on this Thursday afternoon. And the most important thing is Phillies lose 4-3 today, get swept out by the New York Mets, who will now head to Wrigley and try to, I don't know, man, get their pride back in check by hopefully taking at least 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. Because other than that, if they come home, losers are 2 out of 3, if they come home being swept, how does Rob Thompson maintain and keep his job? And we'll have to wait and see. But remember, here on the network, tomorrow will be Big Al, or not tomorrow, but Friday, Big Al. Saturday's me in for Pat, and Sunday it will be me as well. I will be returning from my vacation on Friday afternoon. I noticed something isn't talking Union tomorrow. Yeah, we're moving the Union show, the Attacking Third, to tonight due to the fact that the NFL draft is tomorrow. So Pat and Steve will be coming at you tonight at 9. For the Attacking Third. Yes, today is Wednesday, Joe. I'm aware of that. I think it's Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, it's Wednesday. But no, we're going to be moving the Union, the Attacking Third, to tonight so that we can all focus in on the NFL draft tomorrow. Now, the network will not be covering the NFL draft. We will not have live draft coverage, but we will be covering it on our social media pages. So please check back with us as we'll be providing some shorts and some draft graphics and talking about draft stuff, but no live coverage of the draft this year. We're working on some things for the future, but this year, with me being gone and all this other things, it just didn't really seem to work out. But we will be doing some sort of draft coverage tomorrow, but not live streaming. So 4-3 Phillies losers in 10. Day off tomorrow, and then they'll be in Chicago on Friday to finish up the road trip, finish up the nightmare of a road trip thus far. And we got you covered here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. So please make sure you check back. 7-2, as I've been pointed out so far now as your host on the Fightings Final. And listen, right off the bat, I do want to publicly say one thing. Sal G has decided to step away from the network completely to handle some personal business. And, it wasn't good news when I was told about it. I'm not going to try to talk him out of it. Family comes first. We already know that. But Sal's going to be stepping away completely now. But the door will always be open for Sal to return whenever he wants. And we're going to miss him here. He's a big part of what we do here on this show. He was also a big part of this network when we first started back in October. Matter of fact, he was the only other part of the network other than me back in October when we launched the network. So I want to personally say publicly on air, Sal, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all your help, all your work, and your dedication to the It's a Wrap Sports Network. And the door will always be open for you if you want to return. So again, I want to just say that publicly as we'll miss him terribly here on the network. And Joe says we will miss him. Absolutely. We will miss him is 100% correct. So Sal G's stepping away, but he's more than welcome back anytime he wants. And that is going to wrap me up from St. Augustine, ladies and gentlemen. Phillies lose 4-3 in extra innings. We will talk again on Friday after the Cubs game. Next week, we're back to our normal programming, the final word. Everything will be back as I'll be returning. But until we talk again, go Phils, and you guys enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your day, your night, and tomorrow as well. So take care from Florida. Have a good day.